Welcome to MidLIFE Matters, where we celebrate women's wisdom and wit. I'm Georgian Lussier, your host, and I'm delighted to introduce today's guest, Paula Pettinella, who started her singing career at age 60. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So happy to have you on the show. This is an exciting conversation we're going to have. Now, you sing oldies and country songs, and you
Yes.
always include Patsy Cline
Always
tunes.
include her, yes.
Tell us about some of the venues that you perform in.
I perform in restaurants. I've done nursing homes, senior centers, and boy, can they dance. We just did one 2 weeks ago. There were 300 people there. It was a Christmas party at the Crown Plaza, and they had a ball. They had a ball. It's really a lot of fun. And seeing them smile and getting excited, and it's a fun thing to do. The restaurants are terrific. The people enjoy it, dinner shows, and then they get up and start dancing, so it's great.
So in terms of audience response, you kind of get some immediate
I do,
energy from the
yeah.
group.
You can
right?
read the group that you're doing. If, like, when I start out with Patsy Cline while they're eating dinner, you don't want to start with a rock and roll or, oldies. And then as they start to move around and dancing in their seats, then you say, okay, now it's time to open it up. And that's
Yeah.
what we do.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So starting at age 60, this is just such a fascinating story.
It really is, yeah. I mean, I sang just first with records, then with my dad, and then in the car, and never thought that I'd actually be doing this now, especially at this age. But it's been a godsend, yeah.
Well, I heard you at the Shriners event that WPAA-TV's own Talking with Tom organized, and here in Wallingford. And you mentioned that you always start your performances with the Eddie Arnold song, Make the World Go Away. So tell us a little bit about that backstory.
My mother was a country singer with her sisters. She wasn't like an established singer, but they would go out every weekend and everybody knew them. There were 3 sisters, and they would go out and sing, and they would harmonize. And as kids, we would always be in the car with them, and in those days, everybody fit in the car. So we would all be singing the songs with them, and Eddie Arnold was her favorite. So when I finally saw the song and learned it, she was elated. And then when she passed away, I always open with that song. This way she's kind of always with me. So I
Nice.
try to do it for her, yeah.
A tribute, absolutely.
yeah.
Now, did you listen to country music all throughout your life? Like before you
On
started
and off,
singing?
I did love country, and then we loved the oldies. I mean, it was just one of those things that we listened to all the time, yeah. But country music kind of got that, we had that twang in our voice, so it worked out really
Okay.
well, yeah.
What are some of the oldies that you cover?
I do the Shirelles, We Used to Love You Tomorrow. I can do Bob Seger with Old Time Rock and Roll. We do Motown, Baby Love, I Will Survive. We go all the way up to disco. So I sing Elvis Presley. I tell people I can morph into Frank Sinatra, I can morph into Elvis, and then at the end of the night, if I still feel a little chubby, I can be Chubby Checker and a twist. So it works out good. Yeah.
It's Frank Sinatra's 100th birthday.
Yes,
There's a
yeah.
huge celebration.
We've been doing the
planned
songs
around
for
that.
him. Yeah, I do 3 of his songs. I do 3 of Elvis's songs, Paul Anka. People like, when I sing My Way, the expression on their faces, it was my husband's idea to do it. He says, you have to do it. And they just look, because they don't expect a woman to sing it. But being the only woman in the circuit right now, it was kind of cool. So I said, I'll try it. And then in the end, of course, I end it country. So it comes out good.
So when you talk about a circuit, how would you kind of characterize your singing career in terms of the scope of what you do?
It's great. I mean, there's a lot of men, and they have their own type of show. But because I'm a woman, and I do Patsy Cline and Connie Francis, and I put a softer run on things, and it seems to work out great. And they're shocked when they see some of the songs that I do, because I pick a couple of men's songs, and I do those as well. And it's just, they're very open and ready to receive it. So it's really nice. It's really great, yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. Now, you talked about your mom harmonizing, and your dad taught you to
He did, yeah.
play
He was
your
a piano
first
player.
song?
Yeah. He played everything by ear. He never took a lesson in his life. If he had a guitar, if he had a harmonica, he would always just play it. And he taught me Way Muddy when I was 3, and everywhere we went. If we had company at the house, I had to stand by the piano. And all my life, I just never forgot the song. So I didn't know what it meant. I still don't, but but I sing it all the time, yeah.
So were you singing in Italian or in
It was in
English?
Italian.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in Italian,
All right.
and never knew what the words meant at all. And I still am not quite sure what they mean, but I still sing it, yeah. But I just, every so often.
So Do you think, looking back, that you were kind of always a performer? I mean, 3 years old, standing near the piano, you didn't feel kind of
You know,
put
maybe I
upon, or-
did, because that was a dream. I remember singing out my window in Bridgeport with those little screens open and shut, and I would sing a Connie Francis song and just sing it at the top of my lungs out the window. So maybe, yeah, I bet I was, yeah. I probably wanted to do it forever. This was my output, you know, that's what I
Yeah.
did, yeah.
So let's talk about how it came to be that you started singing later in life.
Yeah, well, I had gotten divorced. I was married 40 years, and I became divorced, and I lived with my youngest daughter. And her best friend loved to sing, too. So we'd always be singing in my living room when I was married before. And we all decided to start going out to karaoke just once a week, just for something to do. And then one day, I was with my husband at the time. I met him a couple of years later, and his cousin heard me. And he's Angelo Ruggerio. He's my mentor. And when he heard me, he said, I have to, who's that woman singing? And he said, that's my wife. And everything happened from there. He said, come and join me at my show. And he was so gracious, let me go to every show. For years, I was part of his show. And then he says, someday you're going to be on your own. You know, you're just going to leave and be on your own. And he just gave me all the encouragement. And 2 years now I've been on my own. 26th of January will be 2 years since my first show.
Well, happy anniversary.
I know, thank you.
Now, I looked him up, and it looks like he does, he's been performing like his
Oh,
whole
yeah,
life,
his
right?
whole life, yes. He's
And
a great
he's
performer.
Worked with different groups, and
Yeah.
he's, you know, appeared at Foxwoods, and I
Yes.
mean, it looks like he's got a real
He's really
mix.
established. He's been doing this, close to 30 years or better. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's been singing his whole life. And he has a Broadway persona. So he
Okay.
really is a great performer.
I saw him dancing
Yeah,
in one of
he
his
is
clips
so
on his
great, yeah.
website.
Yeah, he really, he's definitely a performer. He's
Mm-hmm.
a great performer, yeah.
So what are the things that he helped enlighten you about in terms of techniques with
Yes,
singing? Because
yes.
obviously this was all a natural thing.
Right, it
Yeah.
came natural to be able to sing, but I didn't know how to hold a note. I would end my note, you know, when the note was over, the song, and I would end it. And he says, no, you need to carry it. And I had no idea. I didn't even know what a diaphragm was, you know, not a clue. And he says, you have to breathe through that. And then he would come behind me as I was singing Connie Francis, and Where the Boys Are was a very strenuous song. And he'd get behind me and go, now take a breath, take a breath. And then next thing you know, I can just carry, they just fall right out of my mouth. I can't understand how I have so much power in my voice, and it's all because of him. It really is, yeah. He's an amazing man. I went and tried out for America's Got Talent, and I said the same thing to them. I would have never been anywhere if it wasn't for him.
Tell us about America's Got Talent. What's the process like to compete in
That's
something?
amazing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
amazing.
national,
It
right?
was, yeah. I didn't make the final cut, but being there, it was in New York City, right by the water there. And there were so many thousands of people there. It was amazing. They'd have singers and dancers and musicians, and all lit up on a stage that said America's Got Talent. It was really one of the best experiences. And when I sang, I was in a group of 15, and they were all singers. And they had young people and young girls, and who sang this and who sang that. And then I got up and I said, I'm Paula Pettinella. I'm 65 years old. And he went, and he looked up at me, and then I sang House of the Rising Sun. And you had to do it a cappella. So, you know, I just sang into that, and he looked up, and he says, okay, all set. So it was over, and he said, you did great. So I figured if I didn't go any further than that, that was enough.
Yeah.
So it worked out good.
And how does the process work? Like how do you get your name forward to be
You go
considered?
online and you audition, and then
Okay.
you tell them, you know, what you have to offer, and then they send you all your information, and they give you a number, and you can't get in there without the number, and you have to
Okay.
write out all the information about where you were, who you were, what you do, and they just take you in and see what you got. So.
The audition, do you record yourself at home and send it? Or I mean,
No, we just told them what we did.
Oh.
It was an open thing. That, like I said, there were so many thousands of people there.
Wow.
It was a big experience. We were there for hours and hours that day, but it was nice.
And then there's other large venues that you've been part of, like down in Little Italy.
Yes, I sang at the
Tell us
San
about
Gennaro
that.
Festival, yeah. I didn't sing Connie Francis at the time, and Angelo said to me, if you're going to sing in San Gennaro, you've got to learn Connie Francis. And I was like, I didn't even know if I could reach her range. And that's when he mentored me, and he said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And now it's one of my top things, along with Patsy Cline. So I'm noted for Patsy Cline, Connie Francis, and then the oldies. That all comes with it.
Okay.
Yeah, but those are the two voices
And
I'm
was
known.
Connie Francis Italian? Is that why
Yes.
you have
Oh,
to
yeah.
sing
Very
Connie
Italian.
Francis?
She's like their idol.
Okay.
Connie Francis is the woman idol for all the Italians.
Right.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's like
yeah.
a patron saint,
Yeah,
not of the
exactly.
religious order,
Not-
but
right.
inspirational.
She's the Frank Sinatra, the female Frank Sinatra
Okay.
of the Italian people. She's amazing.
And the festival, I mean, I have been down to Little Italy, probably
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our viewers have been, but what is that like when you perform? Like, what is the staging?
It's a
and-
big stage. They call it the main stage. It's Angelo's show, and I would sing with him there. And, he would introduce me, and the people were just so receptive because it was different.
Okay.
And once, as soon as I started, I would start out with the Patsy Cline song.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, he'd hit it with, they already liked Crazy, so that worked out
Right.
great. And then he'd say, okay, hit it now. And by the time I got to the first words on Where the Boys Are, that first Where the Boys Are, everybody just stopped. And where you look, all you saw were heads looking straight at you. They were dancing on the corner. It was amazing. And they cheered, and so many people just looking at you. It's hard to even imagine. Hard to imagine that I could do that.
Have you felt stage fright?
No, never.
Wonderful.
No,
So this is
never.
your natural
It is.
calling.
Once it's like I couldn't talk right away with my mic, but the minute it came in my hand and I was singing, there was no fright. In the beginning, it took me a while to talk into it, into the crowd, but as soon as I got the mic to sing, it was a different story. Yeah.
And as I understand your life, before you started singing, before you got divorced, it was much smaller.
Oh, it was definitely, yeah, I didn't do anything. I was a mom. I
Yeah.
had 3 kids that are amazing. Right now I have 7 grandchildren.
Nice.
So, but it was just, Mom, you cooked 7 days a week. You took care of your kids. You took them to practice. You took them to whatever, cheerleading, whatever it was. And there was no outside life. So having this happen at 60 years old was just like hitting Vegas or something. I couldn't
Right.
believe it. We can't believe the life that we have now. Yeah. So it's pretty nice.
That's wonderful. And something else happened when you were 57 and getting divorced. Let's talk about that pageant experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had just gotten divorced, and I was feeling very, not really good about myself. And my daughter was Miss Connecticut, and she said to me, Mom, why don't you try and do this pageant? It's local, it's not a big deal, just try it. And I said, I'll try it. So we did, and we went into the pageant, and you had to go in the interview with a suit on. It was dressed, everything was a different segment of it. And then you had the evening gown and so forth, and talent. So of course I sang, and it was just amazing. That was my first aspect of getting out of doing something different. And I won. It was 40 and over, so I won Classic Miss New England. And it was the Kudo pageants out of Shelton, Connecticut. They're amazing. She does a beautiful pageant. She was a pageant person herself. So it goes from infants all the way up to old.
Nice. And
So it
so
was
then
nice.
did you spend time during that year as being Miss New England? Did you make appearances? Was
No,
there
I didn't do
anything?
too many then
Okay.
because my life was getting a little crazy there. But when my daughter was Miss Connecticut, yeah, we did everything. We did appearances at schools and at openings for a holiday or parades or so forth. I did all that with her, but I didn't do it. I wasn't ready to kind of get in there. It was just a thrill to win it. It was a thrill to
Absolutely.
win it, yeah, so.
So your daughter's talent, is she a singer as
No,
well?
no,
Okay.
not a song, no. But she can dance, and she's got that kind of balance about her. She's just got everything. She's more of a dancer than a singer, yeah.
But in the arts,
Yep, yeah,
in the arts.
and yeah.
And have you found any women that you are able to mentor, women or men, other singers?
I
mean,
tell
has this
everybody,
happened to you?
yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I tell people, when I do a show, it's not all about me. If someone comes to my show and they say, can I sing? I said, if you bring a song, you're more than welcome to come, like, anybody like that. If I see them, I said, if you think you can sing. And one person said to me at one of the restaurants and said, well, is it like a karaoke show? I said, no, it's my show. But if someone wants to get up there and show their talent, I know what it's like to not even realize how easy it is to happen, and they could get up there and be amazing. And I tell them, anytime you want to come to my show, if you want to sing, you're more than welcome to sing. So if someone comes up, that's good. I'd do anything to try and help them too, because I don't know what I would have done if they didn't do it for me. So it's a nice
Absolutely.
thing, yeah. It really
And
is.
you've done some benefits. Let's talk about some of the benefits. I mean, I was at the Shriners, and I just fell in love with your singing. I thought it was so terrific.
thank
And
you.
I remember those songs,
Yeah.
so we're in the same era. And I've always loved music, and I particularly like country music as
Yeah, I
well.
do
And
too,
Patsy
yes.
Cline,
Yeah,
which
I do
my
too.
daughter would say, please, no more
Right.
Patsy Cline.
Everybody
but-
loves Patsy Cline. Men adore Patsy Cline.
Really?
Someone told me that the benefit that I'm doing in January, when they were in the service, the lights would be down and Patsy Cline would be singing. So most of your
Oh.
servicemen knew Patsy Cline. So I never
Interesting.
realized when I sang it, you figure, who am I going to touch with
Right.
this? And yeah, a lot of people really do. And the benefits are great. When you see them smiling
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying it, and this last benefit was for the VFWs, for the hospital, for the people that were in the hospital, and it was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they enjoyed every minute they were dancing, and it was great. Benefits are the best.
And you've done work, performances with Sacred Heart Academy?
Yes. My husband's cousin is one of the sisters there,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked if I could do a Christmas show, and I said, absolutely. So we came in and we did that. And then someone had gotten ill, and they asked me if I would do the benefit for them so they can earn money to help the family. And without a
Nice.
doubt, within a second, I said, yeah.
So just helping viewers picture it a little bit, I know you talked about some of the things you do might be like a dinner, right?
Yeah, a
Involve
dinner
dinner
show, yeah.
followed by dancing?
Yeah. It's just like the old days, remember?
Okay.
When you would see people, they'd go out to eat, and then they'd get up and they'd dance, and they'd go out to eat. And then if I see people just like finishing their dinner, I'll do an Unchained Melody or something, and I'll sing that for them. And then I'll do In the Still of the Night or something, or I'll start out with this magic moment, and all of a sudden their heads look up, and next thing you know, they're dancing. So,
Nice.
you wait, and then it gets a little more rock and roll as the night goes on. But then when they're all dancing on the dance floor, it's the biggest thrill. It's the
Yeah.
biggest thrill, yeah.
And do
Really is.
people have requests?
Yes, they do. Yeah, and I tell them if there's any way that I can do it, I will. And if I can't, I'll learn it for the next time I'm here. Because a lot of times we do repeats, at different
Okay.
restaurants, you'll get a repeat. And I'll say, I'll make sure I have it for the next time, so it works out
So
good.
do you do things at like New Year's Eve?
Yeah, I have my first New Year's Eve this year.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, my first New Year's Eve on my own. Yes, I do, and it's going to be the Twisted Vine in Derby.
Okay.
So it's pretty exciting, and they're thrilled. It was a really big experience. When they called me and asked me if I'd think about it, and then I went out one night to dinner, and they have this menu in front of me, and I'm like, oh, how nice. And I opened it, and I looked at it, and they said, did you look at it? I said, no. I looked at the menu, and it was featuring Paula Pettinella. And I said,
Oh,
oh, my God, that's how I
so
realized.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a big deal to do New Year's. Yeah, I'm
So
excited.
how many hours would be involved in that? And how many of that do you sing?
People tell me, my husband yells at me all the time,
Okay.
I sing too much. I don't like
Alright.
to take a break. I really very seldom take a break, because if they're dancing and having a good time and you take a break, you're going to lose your audience.
Yes,
and
kind of
I
spell
don't,
is-
yeah,
yeah.
I don't want to do that. And he'll say to me, you need to take a break. I say, if I need a drink of water, I'll just say, let me take a drink of water, I'll be fine.
Right.
But I really enjoy it. So if I sing my 3 hours, I usually sing straight through.
3
Yeah,
hours?
Yeah, sometimes New Year's might be a little longer. On New Year's, I'll take a break so I can have dinner,
Right.
other than that. But most of the time, I don't.
So do you have a voice coach?
No.
No.
I did it all on my own, other than Angelo teaching me how to breathe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know much about singing, but I know singers have to take care of their voices.
That's
so-
what they say, yeah.
Yeah, it's
and
like, it's your instrument and, right?
It
It's
works well for me. I can do tea. My little secret is Fireball, to be honest with you.
Fireball? That's a drink? What is it?
I don't know. When I was at the restaurant that I'm doing New Year's Eve at, the owner had said to me, you have to try this. And I said, no, I really don't drink any kind of whiskey or anything. I have a glass of wine, but that's about it. No, you really should try this. It's good for your voice. And sure enough, every time if I start to feel that little bit of dry, you just take one little sip and it just coats, I guess, your vocals. I have no idea, but it works every time.
What's in a Fireball, do you know?
It tastes like the Fireball candy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really,
All
really
right.
good. So it has that cinnamony taste, and it just calms all the fibers
Almost
down
like
your
a
throat.
syrupy
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
thing?
No, it's just warm. A little. You take it
Oh.
in a little shot glass,
Fiery.
and I get like 3 or 4 sips out of that one little glass. Where I take it periodically through the
Yeah.
show, and it's all
Okay.
I need. So it works out good.
It's for medicinal purposes.
It is.
Yeah.
The wine is for pleasure.
And so what advice would you give to women who may feel like the die is cast, their lives are set,
Don't.
they're in a 30, 40, whatever year marriage,
Yeah.
the ship has sailed, whatever the analogy would be?
It's true. It's a hard thing to say, because most likely you got to realize we only have one life. And if we don't take advantage now, there's nothing left. I mean, I'm going to be 67 next month. So all of a sudden, you're going to be in your 70s and maybe 80s, and I just want to keep going. And if you're stuck sitting down watching TV and falling asleep at 8 o'clock, your life is over before you even know it. So you want to kind of see if you can liven things up a little bit. And even if you start in the house, you don't even have to go out. You know, in the beginning, start in the house. Let's do this. Let's go play some music. Let's do this, and maybe get them in the mood. And then if they do, say, let's go out to dinner and come to one of my shows.
There you
Most
go.
of my people are my age and over. They really enjoy it, yeah. So that's all you have to
I did read that there seems to be a trend where women in their 50s are getting divorced.
Oh,
And marriages where people are in their 50s, but women tend to be the ones that are initiating it, which I think is a fascinating
yeah.
trend. It was a New York Times article, and it talked about women they interviewed. They featured different ones saying, I just thought, I have like another 30 years.
Yeah.
And they may not all be of equal, ability to do
right.
things, but I need to really look at my life and say, is this going to continue to work for me?
It absolutely is. That's the thought. Exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I said I don't want, if I get 50 more years, I don't want to spend it doing the same thing I did before. I need something more.
And
And
it sounds
turned
like your
out-
children were supportive.
They were
Having
great.
support when you do something
Yeah.
big like that, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
They were great,
Right?
all of them, yeah. And I mean, they love their dad, and
Yeah.
God bless them. I mean, I
Right.
wish him only the best. It just didn't work for us anymore, We
Yeah.
I got married at 17, so by the time you grew older, things were different. So you never know what it is,
Right, right. And so I think you're a wonderful example of someone who, certainly when you made a step like that, you certainly didn't do it saying, I'm going to go out now and be a
Oh, no,
singer.
no. It
You
it
just said,
took
let
me
me see
forever.
what's there.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I did nothing. I lived with my son for a year and a half, and then I bought a
Okay.
condo in Southbury for me and my daughter, and I lived there for a while. And up until I met Carl, to be honest with you, I used to just sing in the closet, more or less, you know what I'm saying? Sing in the room, do this, and that was just my out. Someday I'm going to make it, someday I'm going
Yep.
to make it. And thanks to him, that's how I met his cousin, and my whole world, he opened my world for me all the way around, yeah, so.
So it was like an inner voice, someday I'm going to make it?
Yeah, always. Anytime times were bad, I'd be in the room on 45s, and then one of my daughter's friends bought me a karaoke machine, and it was like, oh my God, and here I am in the living room, and I had a daycare and taught all my kids in daycare how to sing, who had a candle, who had a hairbrush,
Okay.
but they all sang with me.
I love it.
Yeah, they did. So singing was my heart, always, yeah. And he's the one who opened it for me, so I have to, my husband Carl's pretty great. He's pretty great. He's my open door.
I didn't know you had a daycare, so about how many children would you have singing? I'm trying to picture
Usually I had
this.
5. Oh my, it was wonderful. And where
Yeah.
I lived before, I had a hearth, and they would stand on the hearth and perform. And one little girl, I adored her. And I went to her birthday party. I go, you get friendly with the parents,
Yeah.
because you're raising their kids.
Right.
And she would sing Shania Twain, Feel Like a Woman.
Okay.
And she would do it for all her relatives at the party. It was so
Uh-huh.
great. And they said, thank you, Paula.
I was going to say, I imagine that the parents really
They liked
valued
it,
that.
yeah. Every time they picked them up, they had a show waiting for them. They were always singing, always, and they all remember it. It's so funny. They graduated college. One's a mom already, and she said, "I remember you giving me pigtails and a candle."
I
And
love
that's
it.
yeah, I loved that. That was the other part of life I liked. Yeah, daycare with the kids it was amazing, amazing. I did it almost close to the 40 years I was married. I always did.
Wow.
I had kids, so it was easier
Right.
to do the daycare and have them with me. So I just retired a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Well, that's a huge contribution right there
Yeah,
to so
it was
many
great.
lives that you
Yeah.
touched. And think about it, you were sharing your gift.
And they all sang. Every one of them sang. Yeah, that was part of our routine. And if they took a nap, I would have my earrings on and I'd fix my makeup while they
Oh,
were
okay.
sleeping. And they'd say, Miss Paula, you have a show tonight? So I'd say, yeah. And that's what it was.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Do you think children are less inhibited about singing?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah. They just love it. If they hear a song, and we sing everything, I would sing Stand By Me. And they would come in with a darling, darling. The whole table would start singing it.
Nice.
So it was really great. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
really, really lucky to do that.
So I would think sometimes when you have your people up dancing, you're kind of getting them back in that kind of being less inhibited.
Yes.
Right?
Right. And they do, and no matter how old they are, they could be white-haired and dancing their hearts out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Even the senior centers. One lady was 94 and she said, I'm too old. She had a walker. Next thing you know, she's pushing her walker in front of her and kicking her feet to the twist.
I love it.
It's
I
the
love
best
it.
thing in the world. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really, it's such a great gift. I just can't believe I'm lucky enough to do this.
Well,
Really
that you're
am.
sharing it with everyone, too.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, you
that's it.
shared it with your daycare kids.
Yeah.
And your children, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And your sister's growing up, right? I mean, you've always
We
been.
always, yeah, my sister
Yeah.
and I, we would both sing together, and she'd say, I can't sing a note. And I laugh at her. She said, but she sang right by my side. She said, I come to your shows, but I'd never try to sing.
Okay.
So, and I have a
Alright.
brother as well.
So she
Yeah.
had the spirit of it.
She did.
just
And my
didn't
brother
have
was
the
a
gift.
singer, but he won't sing in front of people, but he
No.
can sing really well.
Really?
Really well, yeah.
Well, that
but
could be a little
very
project,
shy,
maybe.
very
Yeah.
shy, though, yeah.
I always ask my guests to reflect on earlier days, which we've talked about
Mm-hmm.
here. And can you think of any advice you would maybe give your younger Paula? Say at 25 or 40, you know, somewhere
Yeah,
at
just
those...
you have to live your dream. You have to be yourself. If you spend one day without a smile on your face, then that's the day you lost. You know, and it's just, it's sad. You have to find something to be happy about. You know, no matter how bad things get, you need to find something to be happy about in that day. So that's the main objective. Yeah, find something that you love or want to do and give it a shot. Give it a try and see what happens. Even if it's just in your living room, just do it anyway.
Even just with a hairbrush.
With a hairbrush or a
With a
candle.
hairbrush, singing out the screened
Right,
window in
that's
Bridgeport.
it.
I can picture
That's
it.
exactly what it is.
Do you have any goals, like things that you would like to do next? Now you're doing your first, well, for 2 years now you've been doing your own
Own
shows.
show, yeah.
You're doing your first New
New
Year's
Year's
Eve,
Eve.
which is a big deal,
Yes,
right? Are
it
there
is.
any other things that you think are kind of stretch goals?
I don't know. It's just amazing what I'm doing now and having grandkids. I mean, watching them grow. One just got married in May, and it's just amazing, you know. So hopefully get some great grandchildren floating around too. And my goal is just seeing them happy and having them come to my house and say Nana. And all three of them call me a different name. One is Grana, one is Alma, the other one's Nana. But they all, it's just great. My goal is to just keep on doing what I'm doing. As long as I can sing, I want to do that until everybody else do the same. Just enjoy it. Got to enjoy life. Really do. You got to laugh. You got to smile. And, you know, just pick up the little things and make them big things. Really. That's the
That's
difference.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I do close with a quote, and I have one that I found on Patsy Cline, from Patsy Cline, which I mentioned, which I think is informative no matter what someone's life includes. But she said, you're going to have to learn to get out there in front of those cameras and hold your head up. Take charge while you are singing.
Absolutely. That's what
Patsy
it's all
Cline.
about. Yep. She knew. She knew. I mean, can only imagine how many more songs she would have sang.
Yes, that was a
if she was still
tragedy.
here. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
young.
But she knew she had it.
Well, I'm glad that you know you have it and that you found a way to be discovered.
I did, yeah. It
And
was a
that's
miracle as
terrific
far as I know.
story. It
Thank
really
you.
is. Thank you so
Yes.
much for being on the
Thank
show.
you. I appreciate it so much. I had a great time. Thank you.
And please tune in to hear other fascinating women on future segments of MidLIFE Matter. I'm Georgian Lussier. Thanks again.
Tell me now, and I won't ask again. Will you still love me tomorrow? Will you still love me tomorrow? Will you still